What's up, my dudes? Welcome to the Vigorous Q&A. Welcome to the weekend. I was busy watching Desktop Bodybuilding's live stream of the Tampa Pro, and then I was like, oh, it's my live stream. I better hurry. So I washed my face, put on the shirt, and now we're ready to answer the direct questions. Let's see, a couple updates. Peptide Bros episode 2 was released over on Dirk Dakota's YouTube channel. So that's linked down below. I think we got about 6,000 views so far, so it's double the first episode. So thank you guys so much for your support and watching that monthly podcast with those guys as well. But again, we're doing the nootropic tier list, but that's building as we're going along because there's so many nootropics that it would take hours and hours and hours to kind of get it done, and then people lose interest, right? So we do 50% latest developments and 50% nootropics tier list. And for the guys that are posting some disparaging remarks about, oh, these guys are young and they don't train and blah, 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 you don't need to be old and a hardcore bodybuilder for me to collaborate with you. And if you say something unfriendly about my friends, then you're out of here. You're out of here. Right? It's an entrepreneur nootropics podcast, not a bodybuilding podcast. So it's going to be a different group of people. And, even though I'm still swole, I'm not as swole as I used to be. That's for sure. Anabolic Roundtable, episode 24 is postponed until August 12th. So that's when we record. Because we had some scheduling issues. Gert couldn't make it, and then Dean can't make it this week because he got the kickboxing championships exposition or stuff. So that's coming on August 12th, and then it will be releasing on the middle of August. And on the August 11th, we'll do a podcast with Niall. So that's Anabolic Roundtable in collaboration with Transparent Podcast. So that's Nel Niga. This one is cut to shreds. Nel Niga, Kurt Havens, Dr. Dean St. Mart, and yours truly, Vigorous Steve. We're going to do a four-way collaboration. So that's in the making. Gorilla Mind Candy Apple Energy Drink and Modes is released over at Gorilla Mind. It's linked down below. You get 10% discount with code Vigorous. It's a limited edition, so I'll only do one run, and then it's gone. So Candy Apple, if that's your jam, go get it. I'm on my last drink of the fruit punch. Let's see. It said here. Hope you caught it. All right. This one is still available. It will be available for a while. Ooh. And my sincere apologies for all the burps that's coming. I mean, it's carbonated. And I had a lot of food today. So this one will be coming and going, right? Out of stock, in stock, out of stock, in stock. But the Candy Apple, once it's out of stock, it's out of stock. Nitric is still pending because they were missing some ingredients to make nitric. So a mode and energy drink is ready, and nitric will drop in a week or two once that's finished brewing at the manufacturer. Omega Aminos, from now on, will have free zipper cases where you can put your peptides in, free bacteriostatic water, 10 times insulin syringes, and free shipping with every order. So you don't need to spend $200 to get your free shipping in. Now you get free shipping and bacteriostatic water, insulin syringes, and a zipper case with every order that you place. Using code Vigorous, so you can support me. Glutathione is launched over at Omega Amino, so that's now available there. So besides the the beautiful Chase Irons approved injectable quarantine, now there's also Chase Irons approved injectable glutathione. And they're going to release, or maybe it's already released, a mutant blend. So you guys know Glow and Clo, right? With GHK copper, which burns like crazy, like worse than gonorrhea, allegedly, if so I've heard. Right? I'm not talking from personal experience. I would never. But Nick Walker, who's competing this weekend, he doesn't like GHK, the pain. It's a little bit too much, but he does like KPV. Excuse me. There's the first burp of the podcast. He does like KPV, BPC 157, and TB 500, and so do I. So they private blended the mutant blend, which is again BPC 157, TB 500, and KPV, but no GHK copper. So you can have pain-free injections, but still get all of the anti-inflammatory angiogenesis and wound healing and gut microbiome, or not gut microbiome, but intestinal health benefits of Clo or Glow. Just maybe not so much skin glow, unfortunately. I stopped it this week for a week because I was putting the Clo in my calves, and oh man, couldn't walk. Yeah, or the left calf, right? The one that's fucked up. So that's where I put it. And Disguised Alpha is restocking. Get ready for this list. Shred-X, vitamin B12, vitamin C, Larazotide, J147, MK677, TAC or TAK653, PRL853, Epithalon, I think it's capsules though, Phenibut, hydrochloride, and clomiphene, Cardarine, SR9009, Bromantane, Tropisitron, Icar, LHTP, which we discussed on the podcast, the Peptide Bros podcast, right, with Jack, Derek, and Brandon. ITPP is being restocked, 5-amino-1-MQ and IGF-1 LR3. And then next week, they will release Meldonium, Mexidol, also known as amoxapine. ATX is being re-released, and SLUPP 915 is being released. And the ATX 304 and SLUPP 915 will have a limited stock. So if you're interested in that, subscribe to the newsletter option that they have there. That you get notified as soon as it's in stock. Place your order, and then if you wait a day, it might be sold out again. Unfortunately, the growth of Disguised Alpha has been astronomical, and that means even if they order 500 bottles of something, it might sell out really, really fast. And I heard that some suppliers are already getting issues with BAM15, ATX, and Bromantane, and that, similar to steroids and growth hormone, there might be a little bit of a shortage for a while. So if you like that stuff, I would stock up. And I think Disguised Alpha for August, I remember reading that somewhere, they will do like giveaways for every affiliate that they have. So regardless if you use my code or Ben Chow's code or Coach Colton's code or whatever code you would prefer, for every affiliate there will be a giveaway of 5 coupons, I think of $100 for the biggest spenders, right? So similar to what I did, free consultation for the 3 biggest spenders in June, right, across all affiliates. I mean, thousands of dollars. Some guys spent $8,000 or something. Holy shit! So yeah, of course you deserve a free consultation if you do that. If you use my code that much, so they will do a giveaway of $100, 5x for the top 5. So yeah, I think they will announce that soon in their email list. So all the more reasons to shop there and use my code so I can get a kickback. And PCT Mart, I let go because they're terrible at communication, especially for me. Every time I asked for a payout, it would take weeks for them to reply. And every time I'm like, hey, are you going belly up? Are you ghosting me? Are you exit scamming? Did you get arrested? And it was going on for months and months and months. Right? And every time I got an excuse, we don't check this email anymore. We got a new email. You send it to the new email, and they don't reply there as well. And the assistant reads it, but then the payout guy doesn't. And after a while, I was like, fuck this. I sent you such orders. The least you can do is pay me. You should be ready. On the first of the month, you should be ready to pay me for sending so much money your way. And then it took 3 weeks. So they're bye-bye. Use 5-Hour Society or Anabolic Pharmacist if you want to use DHT cream. And all the other, all the other stuff that PCT Mart has, you can literally buy from Anabolic Pharmacist anyway. So, PCT Mart is gone. All right. I think that's pretty much the updates. I'm on 1 week of Primo now. I still had like 50 milligrams of DHT anatide left. So I mixed that in. This week I'm on 650 milligrams. Whoop-de-doo. Next week it's like, 662.5 if I want to mention it correctly. So it's 312.5 milligrams testosterone. And then, it's even more because those Bayer amps are overfilled as well. So you get like 1.2 mils times 100, that's 120 though, times 3 plus 312 are 3.5 plus 50. This week I'm on 722.5. So I bumped the dose up a little bit because, again, the Bayer ampules are overfilled, whether that's a testifier or a Rebound. So I upped the dose a little bit, and fucking huge, bro. I'm so big. I'm so big and strong in the upper body. All right. Disclaimer time, and then we can get started. Let me first check if there's any audio issues. I'm sure somebody would be bitching about it by now. No. All right. Good. I think we're good. Scrapyard Gains. What body fat percentage do you think is ideal to end a cut if the goal is to maximize muscle gain during the following growth phase while minimizing fat gain? Send $20 for the cheesecake. Oh, yeah, that was you? Man, 9,599 orders on the website so far. Insane. And I'm not, well, I sell ebooks, right? I sell a lot of ebooks. But it's not like I'm selling peptides. So, yeah, that's how many services have been used on my website. So you send $20 through the website, which, again, if you want to donate and bypass the YouTube 45% that they take off your super chats, I would be very, very thankful. But again, Scrapyard Gains, you're a member, so you don't need to additional super chat. I will take that $20 and stick it in cheesecake, which will then be deposited in my lower body. Yeah, lower back galore, incoming this Monday. So let's see. You want to end your cut as lean as possible. It's that simple, because the leaner you are, the longer you can do a bulk, the more muscle you're going to gain. And the leaner you are, the more insulin sensitive you are, because you don't got all these weird hormones that the adipose tissue secrete, slightly inflammatory cytokines, and then leptin and all that shit. So you're more insulin sensitive the leaner you are, which means you can make better progress as well. So I would ideally recommend you to get down to 6% body fat. That's my goal for the Mr. Olympia, for the Expo, that is. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks out. So I got 8 weeks to get down from 8% to 6%, or 9% to 6%. I think I can make it. Yeah. I think you can make it. Just get as lean as possible, man. Once I've reached my goal body fat, do you recommend going straight from a deficit into a small estimated surplus to maximize the rebound, or is it better to spend some time in at maintenance prior? Yeah, because even at maintenance, you'll start to fill out. So why don't you just reverse diet? But you can do 10% caloric restrictions, right? So if you're in a deficit, let's say you're in a 20% deficit, for example. You increase your caloric intake by 10%. Now you go from a 20% deficit to a 10% deficit, but you're not at maintenance yet. So you do it for 1 or 2 weeks, then you go to maintenance, right? And then you start increasing the calories every couple of weeks as needed, as your body composition changes and your strength improves, right? And then at one point you start to get fat from that, because you're in somewhat of a caloric surplus. You can't possibly train any harder on the stack that you're on, and that's where you bump up the drugs. Step-by-step cycle design. All right? Hey, Steve, hope your recovery is going well. Yeah, it's going okay. I can leg press 4 plates from the pins, but if I do knees to chest, it's like 2 plates. It's scary. And my whole left leg is like rippling. So I think I'm just pressing with my right leg. I'm going to do some single leg presses soon. Walking stairs is still a bit of an issue, and leg extensions is super scary, but it's going well, man. All things considering, it's going well. I can ride motorcycle, drive cars, swim, walk, and all the basics I can do. Heard Big Paul mention that over 1 gram HCG isn't worth it. It kind of depends on what you're running. Is there an upper limit of gear where HCG is no longer effective for fullness fertility? Yeah, maybe. It kind of depends on what you run. Like if you run like 250 tests and 150 Tren, then I would say it's already not effective because of progestogenic signaling and a potential prolactin downregulation. I think it's more about what you run and how much you run, because I've seen good or decent fertility parameters on a gram of test and a gram of Primo, or a gram of test and a gram of Masteron, or a gram of test and a gram of Boldenol, right? It's all in the 2 gram range. And with good HCG, fertility parameters didn't really budge. I mean, were they perfect? No, obviously not. But they were comparable to TRT. You know, the oxidative stress goes up, so the DNA fragmentation is worse, and the progressive motility and the morphology, the normal morphology is worse. Because it's very subject to oxidative stress. But when you're on 2 grams of gear, you train fucking hard also. But the actual downregulation at the receptor site, that mostly happens from progestogenic 19-nors. And I would say from 150 milligrams of Tren, MENT, DECA, or YK11 perhaps to a certain extent, or check drops, whatever, I would say then it's just better to take it out. And again, MENT aromatizes to 7-alpha-methyl estradiol plus HCG is a lot of estradiol that you need to manage. Tren plus estradiol is also, a bit of an issue. And nandrolone plus HCG or estradiol from the HCG, I mean, that's a recipe for gyno. So yeah, there will be a point of diminishing returns, and you need to take the HCG out, whether that's 1 gram of gear or 2 gram of gear, and it depends on which gear you're running. and if you're running FSH alongside your HCG, and how well you stack your antioxidants. Big Steve, been on TRT 200 milligrams per week. What are your thoughts, suggestions for using Anavar for lean bulk? Is it best used only for cutting 12% body fat? So now you can use Anavar for a bulk or a cut. A bulk and a cut is irrespective of drugs. You can do that by manipulating your diet and help use the drugs to make the bulk or cut a little bit more effective. But in the end, it's based on your caloric intake and your energy expenditure. So you can use it in both contexts, man. The funny thing is, Anavar during a cut is probably higher than during a bulk. Because during a bulk, you can rely on the anabolism from TRT, Anavar, and food. And during a cut, it's only Anavar and TRT. So to compensate for lack of anabolism from the food, you need to increase protein synthesis by upping the Anavar or the TRT. You go to 300 TRT and 20 milligrams Anavar per day. That's 140 milligrams. 440 milligrams a gear. Whereas if you bulk, you can add in 10 milligrams of Anavar on top of your TRT, 270 milligrams a gear, 270 milligrams bulking, 420, baby. No, 440. 440 while cutting. The food is going to put less strain on your body than the drugs will. So less food, more drugs, more food, less drugs. If you're going to bulk, 10 milligrams Anavar is what I would recommend you to start with. You can always increase it later, just like you can increase the food. Mike, he's planning to come to Vegas for the Olympia in September. Okay, awesome. See you at the Expo. What's the best day to come to cruise through the booths and stop by to shake hands with the Vigorous one? Not planning to buy tickets for the show. I would say Sunday or Saturday afternoon, because Friday is usually well, Saturday is more busy also. But if you want to do some shopping, like I'll be there both days, so it doesn't matter. You walk in, you go to the right. I'm in the furthest right booth in the front of the entire expo. So all you need to do is come in, pass security, go take a ride, and me, Chase, and everybody else from the Omega Minos team will be there all freaking day Friday and all freaking day on Saturday. So it doesn't matter when you come in order to come visit me. It might be crowded in the afternoon. If you come early, it's not crowded, and I didn't lose my voice yet. But if you come late, it's probably also not crowded. But my voice will probably already be gone because I'll be bullshitting my way through the day, the entire day, right? Chatting with people. Usually there's a little bit of a queue. Yeah, popular, apparently. So, but if you come like Saturday late afternoon, there's less people, and all the booths are closing up, which means everything is on discount. You want to buy some clothes cheap? It's on discount. They don't want to bring it back. You want to buy some protein powder on discount? It's cheap. They don't want to bring it back. Protein cookies, kratom, I don't know, whatever the fuck they sell at the Mr. Olympia straps, right? Saturday afternoon, it's usually the last day of the expo. I do a little tour of duty, get my wallet ready, say I want this, I want this, I want this. Just get everything on discount. And then you stack up your, your suitcase for the way back. Not that I really, like I checked the booths, right? And there's half the booths are not sold. But we got 8 more weeks left, so let's see. But yeah, I'll be there 2 days, man. You can come visit me anytime. And Chase and everybody else. Hey, hey, Steve. Cheese. Hey, Steve. At 10% body fat, I have 9 weeks before I start contest prep. So you're 9 weeks before you start prep, right? Would it be worth to hop on TRT Plus only HCG right now, or is it really a concern to downregulate LHCG receptors? I would just start on TRT now. You start, let's say you start 16 weeks out, 9 weeks before. I think you'll accomplish more in those 9 weeks on TRT Plus than HCG monotherapy. And then you start your contest prep cycle bigger and stronger, assuming you stay the same 10% body fat. So that's what I would do. I would I'm going to do the show. It's, 26 weeks from now, for example. I'm going to start TRT now. TRT you can run indefinitely, so it's not like it's going to detract from your contest prep. If anything, it makes you bigger. And then, makes your prep more successful. Nick is proven. Nick, James, Joe. I don't think Joe's going to beat James. But let's see. Let's see. Is it already live? I think it's going to be live in like an hour. Steve, I naturally have way curly hair, but ever since hopping on stairs, my hair has gotten significantly curlier, a little coarse, and a bit more frizzy. Have you heard of this before? No hair shredding, though. No, never heard of that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not the right guy to ask, and I don't have frizzy hair or curly hair. So my head, not my beard, but it's gotten way more coarse. Yeah, maybe you're missing. Maybe the muscle is stealing nutrients from your hair. Maybe that's why it's more coarse. Maybe you're missing zinc and copper and keratin building blocks, fish oil, vitamin A. That all contributes to hair quality. So if you go on gear, your anabolism goes up, and if you only focus on providing enough nutrients for anabolism, but not for the rest of the body, then the rest of the body is going to suffer. That's how you get weird side effects like dry skin or terrible hair or organ failure, you know. About to do a mud run. Mud. Okay. I hope there's some wrestling involved. I'd pay to see that. Hopping off testosterone, 500 milligrams, Primo 300 milligrams, 50 milligram Tren back to TRT, 50 milligrams every other day. Okay, so that's 175 a week. But it's the best ways to do this. By the way, 50 milligrams Tren weekly is wicked. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, you'd be surprised. All right, we've come full circle. All right, we started low dose Tren, 2 ampules of parabolin per week, then bump it up to 3. Ooh, that's scary. And then GH15 came along. We all went to a gram of Tren. And now we've come full circle and realized that we don't need so much Tren, 50 milligrams per week. 25 milligrams is getting the job done just quite right. And it will put you on the bodybuilding stage? Probably not. But how many of you guys are competing? So I'm not. 25 milligrams of Tren per week is where it's at. You just switch from one protocol to the next because it's self-tapering. Like testosterone, Primo, Tren. I mean, it will take a couple of weeks to clear your system, and as it's self-tapering, you get more and more used to this slower serum concentrations. It will all kind of clear from your system the same way, but the metabolites might be detectable longer for the Trenbolone. That's 5 months, but are they active metabolites? Probably not. So in your case, I would go from 500 tests, 300 Primo, and 50 Tren to 175 tests a week. And the test will then taper down from 500 to 175, and the Primo will metabolize from your body, and the Tren will metabolize from your body. So I would just stop and write it out. After 6 weeks, you'll know. $5. Here's the question. I followed your gyno recovery protocol, was able to fully recover and be back to full chest training in 15 days. Oh, that's fast. For me, it took a month. You don't have any issues doing chest-supported rows or stuff? Thanks so much for your videos. I would love to send you the photos. Yeah, you can do that on Instagram. I still can't reply to Instagram DMs for another week. It's been 2 months. Every time I post something, people want to report me. So today I went on a banning spree. I just blocked a lot of people that I suspect are reporting my account. Industry people, but they probably got dummy accounts to report it, so I don't really know. But yeah, it seems that Instagram is, for bodybuilding purposes and pharmacology, is kind of like a dead end. So genes getting reported also. Colton, Meta, freedom of speech, they don't go hand in hand. So yeah, it's good that everything recovered well, and I hope that the scarring is minimal. Like my surgery went, man, it's so nice. A little bit more on this side, but it's, yeah, it's not much anymore. Just want to say thank you to Gonzo at Rise 41 Podcast. We're making hilarity this week's episode. We talked about tactical poop. Okay. Shameless self-promotion. Let's see. Steve, let's have a fun question. What's your favorite milkshake flavor? Ice cream, candy bar, cereal, pastry, tart, and cake. Milkshake flavor, vanilla rum. Yeah. It's got to be at least a $5 shake. Ice cream, Ben & Jerry's. Can't remember the flavor, though. Candy bar, I don't eat. Cereal, I don't eat. Pastry, don't really eat. Tart, not really. And cake is cheesecake, obviously. So, yeah. Vanilla rum milkshake with a cherry on top. Ben & Jerry and cheesecake. And you make me very happy. Four-way. Four-way podcast orgy, bro. Bring the tissues. Okay, breakdown talk 653. I don't even know what it is. I think it's a nootropic. So haven't tried it yet. I'm sure Jackson will send it to me, and then I'll try it. But for now, I have no fucking clue. I'm still waiting for the previous package with other stuff to try. So the SLUPP 915 is on the way. Takes a little time to get shit into Thailand, guys. It's not like the US where you like this guy's stuff. It is sent same day or next day, and then you have it 2 days later. I mean, they send it there, and then it's at the shipping forwarder 3 days later. Then a week they take to approve it, and then send it to Thailand 2 weeks, and then send it within Thailand to my house. So it's a 3-week process. So yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe Jackson has more of an answer on the Peptide Bros podcast, which we'll do, and then we can discuss it there. But I'm all these new stuff. It will be a while before I tried it. Purchased the Tampa Pro Live. It's $40, right? Damn, $40. So many competitors. Yeah, there's a lot of people competing. Bikini and wellness and all the female classes are probably full. So yeah, well wait. I'll check out Glico Productions on Instagram to get some highlights. Steve, I want to try DHT Eneth, but I'm a 250 test and 200 Primo. Do I pull the Primo just replace with DHT Eneth? Can I take both? I'm not sure if you can take both, but you could definitely switch to Primo for DHT Eneth. I literally did just the opposite. I did 5 weeks of DHT Eneth at 300 milligrams a week, and then I replaced it with a little bit more Primo because, again, these ampules are overfilled. So I'm on 375 Primo now, week 1. So I wanted to do 6 weeks on DHT Eneth. Actually, I wanted to do 8 weeks. But then I looked at the calendar, and I'm like, I also want to run DHT Eneth when I'm at the Mr. Olympia so you guys can see what it did for my skin texture and complexity and all that kind of stuff and muscularity. But I don't think you can run it indefinitely, right? Some people start to get into issues at week 6 onwards through the glucocorticoid receptor inhibition and the mineralocorticoid receptor inhibition and the reduction of actual cortisol in the serum and the reduction of blood pressure and the hyperexcretion of electrolytes. Right? I had to remove the empagliflozin. I had to remove the telmisartan. I had to increase my sodium intake. And that's still high because the DHT is still in my system, right? So it requires, luckily it didn't drop my estrogen that much. I think the Primo will drop my estrogen more, but it kept it in a nice range, right? About 300 tests to 300 DHT that keep my estradiol to the top of the reference range. I literally discussed my blood work in 2 weeks ago in the Vigorous Q&A at the end, so it's in the timestamps. So in your case, I would just go to 250 tests and 200 DHT next week or when it arrives, and then run it for 6 weeks and put the Primo back in. So I'll run Primo for 6 weeks. This week was week number 1, so I'll run it one. I'll start it start a DHT Eneth again in September, and then I'll run it for about 3.5 weeks leading into the Mr. Olympia Expo. That's my Mr. Olympia Expo cycle, bro. Pathetic. And then I should look pretty good. I don't know if you see me as Steve. What are all these veins? Why is everything so detailed? Why is your forearm and arm, and why is there so much, so much separation? Yeah, that's a DHT Eneth. It's good stuff, man. I don't think I need to run Masteron again. If somebody, Belligas guys gave me a whole box, like a box of 10 of Masteron. I don't think I'm ever going to run Masteron again. This is way better. Primo, DHT, and then Masteron, Proviron. Yeah, fuck. Why? For what? I think you can run them together, but you need to be careful. So maybe 250 tests, 200 Primo, and then 100 DHT, and then ramp it up from there. Diaz on another level. Yeah, they really stepped up, man. They really stepped up. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Let's see. There's a question there. Here you go. Does HPTA monotherapy still have a significant negative effect on fertility? It has a positive effect. And it actually increases your sperm count, but your morphology and motility might be altered because FSH is downregulated. HCG monotherapy does reduce LH and FSH levels. So it alters. I wouldn't say it has a negative effect on it, but it alters it. So sperm count might go up, but then the quality of the sperm might go down. For that, you need FSH. Planning on, so technically you have a negative effect, right? But let's say it goes up by 10, 20%, and the morphology reduces by 10%, then you still have more good sperm with good morphology, right? In the difference, in the 10% difference, it's actually more. So on paper, it's like, oh, it reduces 10%. Yeah, but you get 20% more sperm, so you have more sperm with good morphology. Planning on HCG only as a safer protocol for fertility until after kids out of the way. Worth it. You can do that naturally. You can get the kids out of the way now, or free sperm and go on cycle. 10 samples is all you need, man. 3 for intrauterine insemination, maybe 5. Right? So they take the sperm, they just place it in the wife's uterus around ovulation time, so they don't have to worry about the timing. Try that 3 to 4 times, 5 times if you want to. If it doesn't work out, then you have 5 samples left for IVF. And then you do IVF XC, they select the best sperm, they literally shuttle it right to where it needs to be, or MC, and then you're done, So 10 samples, man. And dude, I froze like 3 to 4 samples per ejaculate, because that's so much. And you only need a milliliter, but if you're busting out 5 milliliter shots, you can literally freeze 5 samples. So all you need to do is bust nuts there twice. You only need to masturbate twice, bro. Only need to jerk off twice. 4 days of abstinence, and then you're good. I just found this question, Joshua. Lowest effective dose of EQ, 100 milligrams. Good Primo is where I'm from, is expensive. So I'm looking into EQ for blasting with 300 to 500 tests. Low aromatizer. Maybe cruise too. I know, so start at 100 milligrams and bump it up from there for EQ. You start low, build your way up until you're happy. And then you look at your finances and you decide if it's worth it. But EQ and test is the most cost-effective cycle. I literally did a video on that, even though the prices might be a little bit outdated. But everything went up in price pretty much equally. Primo Masteron certainly went up in price more because of the scarcity for a while. Now it seems to be back. But yeah, EQ is still a cheap option, man. So 300 tests, 300 EQ is probably where you end up. But if you're a low aromatizer, then you probably end up at 500 tests, 200 EQ, or 250 EQ, I think 2 to 1 ratio. Again, blood work will tell you where to go. Awesome. We are at $35 for the Cheesecake Fund. It's a lot of cheesecake. 9 weeks out to my first show and 12 weeks to my second. Okay, so you're competing at the Olympia. Joshua, are you coming to the Mr. Olympia Expo? I know that Paul was a little bit undecided. Top spot. Thanks. Happy August 1st, guys. Hey, thanks. Jackson just sent me like 5 figures in affiliate commissions. You don't need to send me another 2 figures, Jack. Stop it. Stop it. You make me feel like a stripper, Stop throwing money at me. Steve, why don't bodybuilders drink milk? In Canada, we have skim milk that's 20 grams of protein plus 250. Yeah, some bodybuilders do. It just seems that it's pimple food, right? We discussed this in the acne podcast, and whether that's a dairy product, the lactose, or some of the fat that's in there, or the ability for milk to increase IGF-1 levels. That remains to be debated. But milk, and you can put milk in a milkshake, and put some whey protein in there, and then some collagen protein, and some glutamine, and some creatine, and crushed up anadrol, and then follow that with a shot of insulin. Look at 2 or 3 IUs. Yeah, shell all that shit into the muscle. That milk's got carbohydrates. It's got it covered. I know. I like water and energy drinks and caffeine, and whiskey. And vodka. Na zdrowia. 23 weeks into a cut, 150 test sip weekly. Every other day pinning. It's probably 50 milligrams Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you mean? This week, adding in 12.5 milligrams Anavar and 60 milligrams Mass Probe weekly. Is it worth adding in 2 IUs GH end of the day just right out to test Anavar for the rest of the cuts? No, add it in, man. You get a little bit of fullness and a little bit additional fat loss and improved sleep quality. So If you have the funds, just put it in. I'm on TRT. I want the neurosteroid and natural test production, but I can't take HCG. What are the alternatives? You can boost mitochondrial function, which then upregulates your pregnenolone production. Pregnenolone is produced in the mitochondria. So a couple of years ago, I was not so much in tune with the mitochondrial function, but I was very much in tune with neurosteroids, which are kind of declining as you stay on cycle, the longer you are or the older you are. You see that in a lot of case studies. People on TRT, they needed medically. They were already low, deficient in pregnenolone and DHEA. Maybe they were testosterone deficient due to mitochondrial dysfunction. Could be. Right? Pregnenolone, DHEA, testosterone, estrogen, etc. That's the cascade, basically, missing a couple steps. So if your pregnenolone production is shit due to mitochondrial dysfunction, then the rest could be shit also. You need those precursor hormones for your testicles to pump out adequate amounts of testosterone, which can then convert into estrogen and other testosterone in other tissues. So personally, nowadays, I would rather have you go on a mitochondrial support stack for energy levels, fat loss, improved cognition, and just overall quality of life, and then supplement the DHEA on top if you can take HCG. So I take DHEA, Enth from 5 Hour Society. I got DHT enanthate, DHEA enanthate, allopregnanolone. I take that also at low dose. I don't notice anything of it, but I'll run it for a while and then take it out. Sometimes you don't notice anything putting it in, but you notice something when you pull out. 2 vials sounds like. So yeah, if you can't use HCG, look into upregulating mitochondrial function. You can do that with methylene blue, SLUPP 332 or 915, MOD-C, SS31. Antioxidants support mitochondrial function and electrolytes support mitochondrial function. And maybe ATX even. It showed some mitochondrial biogenesis. Ubiquinol, pyroquinoline quinone, PQQ, right? Just type in mitochondrial supplements and you'll get some. And then you supplement the pregnenolone and a DHEA on top. I would start with morning administrations and then maybe do evening administrations both for a week. And then see which one you like or split. I usually do split. Some people notice that they get energy from DHEA and pregnenolone. Other people notice that they get sleepy from DHEA and pregnenolone. So that kind of determines when you time it. 10 milligrams pregnenolone, 25 milligrams DHEA, or double that dose. That range seems to work for most people. So that's 10 to 25 milligrams pregnenolone and 25 to 50 milligrams DHEA. I ended up at 0 milligrams pregnenolone because my mitochondria are so upregulated. And that's one of the reasons why I talk so fast. All this ATP, bro. All this ATP is buzzing around in my brain. Makes you want to go, makes you want to talk fast. I'm sure the nootropics, it's not helping either. So I ended up at 0 milligrams pregnenolone because my mitochondria produce enough pregnenolone for me. Thank you very much. Mitochondria, midichlorians, over 9,000. How many memes can we put in one sentence? And then 37.5, so that's 25 milligrams in the morning, 12.5 milligrams DHEA in the evening, which would bring my DHEA sulfate to the top of the reference range. Yeah. Now I take 30 milligrams DHEA enanthate, and that brings me to the top of the reference range. That's per week. So basically a daily dose turned into a weekly dose. 10 milligrams DHEA enanthate was not enough, so I brought it up to 30 milligrams DHEA enanthate per week. Discounting for the ester, it's maybe even less. Let's say 2/3 of the daily dose, so 25 milligrams per day ended up being 25 milligrams per week, going from the oral to the injectable. Now I'm somewhere at the top of the reference range. Yeah. Okay. Hope that answers it. Good evening. Rate my supplement stack. Fish oil, DHA, magnesium bisglycinate, coenzyme Q10, L-glutamine, vitamin D2 and K2, multivitamin. Make sure with the K2 you get MK4 and MK7 at high dosages. So that's 5,000 IUs vitamin D. Probably you mean vitamin D3, not D2. And then about 1,800 micrograms K2, MK4, MK7. Multivitamin, potassium, I'm assuming that's with eat meal, 150 milligrams test, meal 36, Eindhoven. That's in the Netherlands. I think you should add in citrus bergamot and maybe amla extract, depending on your lipid levels. 1,000 milligrams citrus bergamot and 1,200 milligrams amla extract to bring the HDL up quite nicely with the fish oil. I think that's enough, man. Yeah, I think that's enough. Some 5-HTP on Sunday, if you're from Eindhoven. Hey, if you know, you know. TAC653 is an AMPA receptor positive allosteric modulator designed to strengthen normal glutamate signaling with research interested in cognition, motivation, synaptic plasticity, and depression, right? For research purposes only. But yeah, Jack, do you have any experience with it? Did you try it yet? I know you try everything before it even hits the COA. So let us know. You can send it to me. And then I'll try it too. I'll try everything twice, remember? I'm also almost out of KW 6536. So I definitely need some capsules for that. I just got my wife pregnant while on HCG and FSH only. Well, that's the way to do it, obviously. Should I send HCG or is it possible to go back to TRT with HCG in case something happens? I would wait until the 3rd trimester. Because just because she's pregnant now doesn't mean she stays pregnant. I know, it sucks. You can have a miscarriage, you can have complications, or maybe you have to abort because the NIP test shows that, you have Down syndrome or another issue. And you have to make some tough choices. So it's better to stay off until you pass the NIP test, where you know that your baby is healthy. Like in my case, we did DNA testing as basically every test that we could do here in Thailand before the embryos were even implanted. So, and we still did a NIP test, but I went on cycle as soon as the embryos were formed. Because it's like, you know what? I did my job. I was fucking HCG monotherapy for over a year. I feel like a little girl. So I'm going to get back on the juice. But for you, if she's pregnant now, that means she's at least in week 2, right? Based on the timing. If that's confirmed with not just a pregnancy test, but actually at the clinic where they do a blood draw, then you're in week 2. So you got 10 weeks to go or 6 weeks to go. I think they can do it at week 8 to 12, depending on the country. So you do the NIP test, so you're just 2 more months, 2.5 months. Then you can start juicing. I just would wait until the NIP test, and if there's an issue, and you need to make a tough choice, that means she needs to. You need at least 1 or 2 periods in between, and then you could try again, and then yeah. I would wait. Personally, I would wait. Or you donate as many samples as you can, and you go with IVF afterwards. And then you can do the DNA testing before you implant. It'll be significantly more expensive, but I'm so happy that I did it because my daughter is amazing, dude. She's developing so much faster than everybody else. And no complications, never sick. No drama, no autism, no signs of anything problematic. Yeah, so you use technology to choose which embryo you want to implant. And then you feed your wife a fuckload of omega-3s so the brain of your baby can develop. And, yeah. And then at 1 year old, you see all these amazing things happen. It's crazy. Greetings, sir. I wanted to inquire if there's any notable difference in the potency or side effects profile of different trembolone esters in regards to sleep, for example. If you inject every day, it shouldn't really matter. If you keep your serum level stable, I think injection frequency is more impactful to your sleep quality or the side effects than the ester is. Now, most people would go with trembolone acetate, so you can, abort if needed faster than enanthate or hexahydrobenzocarbonate. People say that there's differences in esters. I never really noticed that between testosterone, trembolone, masteron. That's pretty much it, right? Balderone I only used indislinate. Acetate I used 1 injection, it was crippling. Never used it again. Tossed it in the trash. Tristalone I only used acetate. It's totally fine. And DHT propionate I didn't try yet. And I know both biohacker says that there's a difference, but I'm not entirely sold on it. But hey, he has a lot more experience when it comes to these compounds than I do, so we'll take his word for it. So I think if you inject a low dose in the morning, sub-Q or intramuscularly, it should not affect sleep that much by the end of the evening. And if it does, then well, I have a sleep stack video series. Or you need to try lemborexant, the orexin receptor antagonist that what is it, molecular introduced or talked about first. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried Tren, and when I do use, or I haven't used Tren in over a year. And when I use Tren, I can sleep like a baby. And well, maybe not now. Maybe now I'm kind of lazy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of lazy. So, ride motorcycle, go to the gym, play with my daughter, make some Legos. Now I'm not as hardworking as before. Maybe we should run some Tren to the Mr. Olympia Expo. Paul just said a couple days ago he's boycotting the Olympia. Really? I mean, the Arnold is a lot more fun, man. I know Chase comped my flight and the hotel, so I'm gonna be there. If somebody wants to pay for me, and he got me golden VIP tickets, so I'm gonna be on my knees, fucking balls deep. I'm gonna be at the Expo all day, whoring out the mailing list. Gotta get some ROI for Chase, man. If I get paid, I'm a hard worker, man. So yeah, but if Paul's not coming, then what about? Well, let's see if. Jeez, are we so far behind again? Shit, you're not coming either? God damn, dude. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be so boring. The last time I barely had time to talk with Paul and Joshua because I was so busy at the booth. And podcasts and training, it's like it's exhausting. Oh well. And tropisatron, Megatron, and Megatron is a serotonin 5-HT3 receptor blocker, best known for nausea control. Also interacts with alpha-7 nicotinic receptors involved in memory and cognitive signaling. Sounds like something you would run when you go to Florida and visit the theme parks. Help with the nausea, and then you have great memory and cognitive signaling while you're there and afterwards. How does tropisatron compare to the ACD that you sent me? I like that one, but I only took it a couple times. Yeah, I was not like I want to take this as many times as possible, like Broman 10 or KW. KW was Bay. Don't run it for more than 2 days in a row, though. Otherwise, you don't sleep. At what point dosages ACG become suppressive for a natty guy? Once T and estradiol go too high, yeah, pretty much. My weight wants to raise his fertility levels, but without affecting his HPTA. In that case, he needs to take enclomiphene, which sucks. I just made a short about it. Enclomiphene is not worth the risks, man. Blood clots, IGF-1 reduction, this feeling horrible. Even enclomiphene makes you feel horrible. So there's no free rides, man. And you're not natty when you take them because they're literally altering your HPTA. So if you want normal LH and FSH secretion, then Clomid, Nolvadex, enclomiphene, tormophene, roloxifene will all raise LH and FSH levels. Or you can go an over-the-counter test booster and a semen load stack, right? The Gorilla Mind sells that, code Vigorous, for Sigma and load stack protocols. How much will it boost your testosterone and fertility levels? I'm not entirely sure, but it's worth looking into. It's less invasive than enclomiphene. And HCG, I think it's suppressive beyond the replacement dose of 300 IUs 3 times a week or 325 IUs. But it's somewhere in the scientific evidence. I think like 100 IUs, 150 IUs was not suppressive. But then you don't get much fertility boost out of it also. So the fertility boosting dose, by definition, is a suppressive dose. Yeah. No free rides, man. Steve, finally saw you live. I once ran 500 test E and took 3 times 50 milligrams Androl tabs for a workout. Notice I had one yellow eye, but gone the next day. Well, that's not jaundice. Jaundice would take some time to kick in and come down. We were sure the Anadrol was not S4. S4 would give you yellow vision. It's one of the SARMs that would block receptors in the eye. Yellow eye, I don't know. My eyes are pretty white, but I'm also white privilege eyes. Teeth and eyes white, yeah, and blue, but it's a little bit of a filter. Obviously, I don't look this handsome in real life. So people are like, "Are you Steve or are you, the Renaissance painters, Dr. Mike Israel?" They can't tell the difference in real life. Anyway, a one yellow eye gone the next day. It sounds like high blood pressure, maybe. Not jaundice. Sorry about my overall health. Did a clean blood test, no markers. No, you're fine. You're fine, bro. For increasing natural test production in LH while in TRT, can Gonaderelin or something else to replace HCG? No. Gonaderelin, Kisspeptin, I've never seen any blood work for it to work. I've heard anecdotally that it works. And then I asked them, show me the blood work. Nothing. Disappear. Gone. You know? So, yeah. I don't believe in Gonaderelin. I don't believe in Kisspeptin 10. Maybe if it's a nasal spray where you can dose it multiple times per day at like 15 to 20 IUs per serving. Because it's low dose pulsatile. So 1,000 milligrams Kisspeptin 10 or 1,000 micrograms Kisspeptin 10 in a single serving, it's just in and out. It metabolizes very fast. But obviously it goes into systemic circulation and breaks down relatively fast. But if you do nasal sprays, Gonaderelin, Boosterelin, or Kisspeptin 10, technically that should work. And maybe Adara State can come up, like Brandon, can come up with a solution for that to work. And that will be a solid replacement for SERMs, because that would stimulate LH and FSH production, obviously. But then you're sniffing on the Gonaderelin, Boosterelin, or Kisspeptin 10 like 3 to 5 times a day, because it needs to be dosed multiple times because it has such a short active life. So yeah, maybe it's something to look into, but the injectable Gonaderelin, Boosterelin, or Boosterelin I've never heard anybody use. Injectable Gonaderelin or Kisspeptin 10, I haven't seen blood work that it works to replace HCG. HCG works because it has a 24-hour half-life, 5-day active life, and a 2-week detection time. That's the peptide fragments found in HCG. So longer lasting effects, which means more stimulation of the LHCG receptor. Any growth hormone dosages above replacement causes my pressing movements to trigger bicep tendinitis in both shoulders. No other water, obvious retention symptoms. Anything you suggest, or should I remove the GH? I think you should look into some active release therapy, Graston technique, and deep tissue massage therapy, and maybe some cupping to kind of open up that area, remove the water, and promote healing. Because it sounds that the water retention is just causing some inflammation in that area, which is already there, especially heightening the inflammation. So I think you already have tendinitis or limited range of motion in your shoulders and in bicep, like in this area. And you just need somebody to put their elbows in it or their Graston tools in it. And you'll see that it goes fast. 2 or 3 sessions, it's already better. And then you just need to maintain it. And you could stop GH until then. And then reintroduce it. Only used it for 1 week. I sent the rest of the bottle to Steve for testing. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, you sent the testing. What is the SLU, right? The PP915. Yeah. Is the DHT aging your face? You look decrepit. I want you to look at this white wall and tell me how you feel about it. Just unfortunately, I won't be able to see your comments anymore. Not as decrepit as your mom. Let's see. What's next? Daddy. Yes, I'm a daddy. Daddy Steve. On my TRT, my semen volume was very low. I went on HG monotherapy, 750 hours every other day, and after 4 months, my volume didn't improve at all. Okay, that sucks. Are you sure your HCG was legit? Did you do a testicular ultrasound to see if you have a varicose seal or other kinds of issues with blood flow to your testicles? That might be a cause. Was doing selenium, zinc, lecithin, pygium, enough water, etc. Yeah, there might be a structural issue or your HCG was not legit. And you can check your serum HCG levels, beta HCG. So 750 IUs the day after your injection, your serum beta HCG levels should be about 20 milli-IUs per milliliter. It's about 25 to 30 sometimes after 1,000 IUs, so that should calculate about correctly. Yeah, maybe you need to find a different source. Maybe you need to go to the recombinant HCG. What was it called? Merck. Fuck, I totally forgot. It's been 2 years, guys. Ovitril. Yeah, I think it's difficult to source now. So, but if you can get it, that's what I used to get my wife pregnant. Through IVF. So yeah, HCG might not be real, or you have issue with your blood flow to your testicles. Audio is great, which would then also explain why you have low testosterone levels. That's running 500 tests SIP weekly for a year. Just did 12 weeks bulk and will now do a 12 weeks cut, and we'll do that again to complete 2 bulks, 2 cuts within a year, or 1 long bulk and 1 long cut. No, that sounds good. 12 weeks cut is not long enough for your metabolism to really slow down, and 12 weeks bulk is not long enough for your body to get fat, unless you eat like a fucking asshole, which hopefully you don't do. And you keep test SIP at 500 milligrams weekly. HDL should be fine, lipid should be fine, liver enzyme shouldn't really change unless you really start training hard. It might go up a little bit. Kidney marker shouldn't really... I'm not against it, man. I know guys that run a Grammy gear year round and their blood work is perfect. So that's their TRT because they're like 270 pounds, and that's what they need to maintain. The strength and the size. Because they don't want to get fat. Right? Why do you think some guys are lean year round? Right? You could drop it to 250 and get fat. By keeping your strength up, you need to eat. You either need to take the drugs or you need to eat. So, but I'm not against it, man. Sounds like applying to me. Go for it. Back to your daughter. Do you think omega-3 make a difference in development? How much did you have your wife take? So my wife didn't take omega. Well, she took some omega-3 supplements. So maybe 3,000 milligrams per day, and then salmon every day, and just healthy eating. And then now my daughter eats salmon every single day. And those free-range omega-3 eggs, like 1 yolk per day. And it makes a huge difference because when I compare to my sister, for example, she had a daughter a month earlier. My daughter is walking faster than her daughter. Right? And they eat good, but they don't eat exceptionally good. Right? So there's a difference between exceptionally good, which is what we're doing, and good enough, basically. My daughter is talking words. Her daughter is mumbling, right? My daughter has designated words for certain things. Mum for milk, na for the cat. A couple like little verbal cues for us, right? She understands when I say, come give me a hug in Thai and in English. She understands several words, I give her instructions, basically. Sign language she can do if she wants certain things. And obviously I'm with my daughter the whole time, but when we go for swimming or the little jungle gym that we visit every week, the instructors there are also like, your daughter is doing stuff that is way like ahead of her age. So 1 year, 1 month old, she's doing stuff that other kids would do at 1 year, or 1 year and 5 months old, for example. So she's a couple months ahead in certain things. So yeah, will she then age rapidly and only end up being 40 years old? Who knows? Who knows? Speed running life. But I think like good nutrition parents present all the time. Stimulating her brain with stuff like that. Like, you're the most caring person about your child is going to be you, right? At daycare, they wouldn't care as much as you would. The nanny wouldn't care as much as you would, right? So I'm here 24/7. I'm semi-retired. My wife's basically fully retired. She's a full-time stay-at-home mom. I pay all her bills and I give her a salary. And then occasionally she does something for me that I don't want to handle because it's in Thailand. But yeah, we're set. This is the reason why we had kids late. So if you're not in a position to do that, it sucks. Like, my sister is not in a position to do that, even though I offered. And I had a little bit of ego, so once I go to work. So, okay, fine. Saves me a couple thousand every month. But I think if you're full-time parenting, it makes a huge difference in your kid. And I've seen it happen with a couple of friends of mine. They were kind of retired also, retired early, with 30 years old, sold a company, multimillionaire. And they just play with the kids all day. And their kids were well ahead also. And they're now like 5 or 6 years old. And it's a huge difference. Yeah, it's a huge difference. Like, my goal was to put something of quality on this planet. And I think we're well on our way. Yeah. Well on our way, and I would fucking burn the whole planet down before I put my kid in daycare. That's the last thing. I just put her in daycare. No, what the fuck? I had a kid. I want to be present. What's wrong with you? Running. Nothing else is medically effective for HDL rise, but you should be crashing your APB on gear. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think citrus bergamot, amla extract, and fish oil is pretty, and cardio is pretty good for raising your HDL. Man, so burpy. Steve, as a current natty for the moment, my prolactin keeps coming back elevated. 500 milliamps per meter. Yeah, that's pretty high. 6'1", 108 kilos, living lifestyle. I'm on metrazapine and work shifts. Thoughts? Is metrazapine able to... I don't remember all the drugs and their costs. It's an antidepressant. Yeah, that could raise it. No, it says here that it's prolactin neutral. Should not raise prolactin unless SSRIs. Smoking any weed by any chance? Low dopamine levels, which would otherwise suppress prolactin levels. The 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams L-tyrosine plus 25 milligrams vitamin B6, B5P 3 times a day is good to raise dopamine levels and thus lower prolactin levels. Could be through a micronutrient deficiency, could be through chronic masturbation. Yeah, but weed, work shifts, maybe sleep quality. I don't know if sleep quality is, or alternating sleep schedules is able to raise prolactin. So, yeah, and I hope I give you enough incentive to kind of do some research on where to go. You can always ask, hey, what's causes of raised prolactin? And then kind of go through the checklist, see which one matches you the most. I had rhabdo due to a surgery. I have lagging left delt. Would you recommend GHK-Copper for rebuilding the tissue, at least in a delt, and what dose, if not what? Give yourself some time. Like, if you had surgery, I would say you need about a year to rebuild the tissue. Now, if you have nerve issues, and you have what I have, right? You have my quad, and then instead of having like a V shape, right, on the left and the right side, this better probably. Yeah, this is right, this is left. So on the left side, it's kind of straight. So here I'm pinning the GHK-Copper to kind of create a little bit of scar tissue swelling and just to fill it out. Right? It's the PMAA of Vigorous Steve. Instead of filling out your arms with PMAA like Rich Piana, I'm just filling it out with collagen deposition caused by the GHK-Copper coming from the claw. But I tried training everything, but it's a nerve issue, so I can't really contract it. So the second option is synthol and claw to kind of restore some volume. And I feel that the claw is working. Yeah, I got a little bit more volume now. Still training, obviously, like calves twice a week, but I literally can't feel or contract that area that's kind of dead, and that's why it's disappearing. So in your case, if you can still contract, you could just always build it back up. And then later on, after about a year of training, you could see if GHK-Copper would bring it back. Because why would you go through the pain and money and effort of using GHK-Copper when you can literally restore it through training? Right? I know I won't be able to restore that little, calf area. Well, what is it called? Yeah, well, whatever Latin fucking word it is. I know I won't be able to restore it. So I need side enhancement. But for you, if you can restore it by training, then, then I would go that first. Ran MENT 300 milligrams a week for 10 weeks and had to drop it. Yeah, that's quite a high dose. Most guys end up at 150. Sleep fell apart for at around week 8. So wake up 5 to 6 times a night to pee or just wake up. Estradiol ultrasensitive was 59. Yeah, it doesn't detect 7-alpha methyl estradiol, unfortunately, so that could still be high. Prolactin 4. How much K-bro are you on? So nothing looked crazy. Any thoughts? Yeah, I mean, it sounds like if sleep falls apart, you get too much androgenic stimulation and you need to drop the dose. Or look into something to improve sleep quality, which, again, could be a million different things, and everybody responds differently. There's so many sleep drugs out there. Pick and choose the one you think is more applicable to you. How much Arimidex or Aromasin to take on 250 tests per day? Or 1,000 to 1,500 tests per week? Telmisartan, test-only cycle, healthy. Telmisartan, what is your blood pressure? Your blood pressure will tell you if you need telmisartan. Test-only cycle is healthier than any other cycle because it's bioidentical even at superphysiological dosages. Milligrams per milligram, it's healthier than combining tests with something else. 250 milligrams test per day. I ended up at 25 milligrams Pfizer Aromasin per day. So as a general rule of thumb, for every 250 milligrams testosterone that you take per week, you need 25 milligrams Aromasin or 1 milligram Arimidex. Basically, 1 ampule test, 1 tablet, Aromasin or Arimidex. And Arimidex is 1 milligram and Aromasin is 25 milligrams. And an ampule of testosterone is generally 250 milligrams. So again, 250 milligrams test per week requires 1 milligram Arimidex or 25 milligrams Aromasin. If you do 3 ampules, 3 servings of 250 tests, you need 3 servings of Arimidex and Aromasin. And if you do 7 servings, you need 7 servings. Do your blood work to confirm, obviously. So 1,000 tests, that's 4 servings of 250 tests. You need 4 servings of Arimidex or Aromasin, and 1,500 tests is 6 servings. You would need 6 servings of Arimidex or Aromasin. And I would say that that's healthier than running a gram of test and a gram of Primo. Because a gram of Primo will drop your HDL, will drop your SHBG, and on test only, my HDL was fine. My SHBG was fine. My estradiol was managed. My blood pressure was good. So, and a Primo is supposedly the second healthiest steroid out there. Anecdotally, because it hasn't been as studied as testosterone, obviously. So yeah, and again, blood work will tell you, because if you're lean, you need less aromatase inhibitor, and if you're fat, you need more. Or you might not be able to reach to 250 milligrams of test per day. Had great results on MENT, loved the compound until the sleep issue started. It was brutal, man, never getting into REM or deep sleep. Yeah, so that means you're taking too much. Take 150 the next time and inject it in the morning. Daily microadministrations, that seems to help. Glad to hear Jet Z is progressing through her stages, parents being there and involved is everything in childcare. Yeah. I just wish I had it too. I wish I had some fucking supervision when I was younger. Oh well, trying to break the mold, man. On a recent Peptide Bros podcast, you commented that current blood panel offering don't capture mitochondrial health. Do you think these tests will come in the future, or is it not reflected in serum? No, you don't really see it in serum. You can check mitochondria. I think they have a swab for that. It's been ages since I reviewed, but you should be able to find something on Google if you look for mitochondrial health testing. Merrick, I don't think they offer it, but I could be mistaken. But there's several companies that have like an at-home swab test where you can check the health of your mitochondria. it's probably cheaper just to run the same. You spend the same amount of money you would spend on the mitochondrial health screening. You spend that on SS31 to fix your mitochondrial membrane and the membrane potential and the ATP synthesis, and then probably by the time you get the results back, otherwise from the mitochondrial health screening test, your mitochondria are already fixed with SS31. So, and then you can run some MATC methylene blue to pump them up to the next level. It was really cute how the peptide bros were so scared of you the first episode. They seem to be less nervous. Most recent, it seems to be evolving in a good vibe. Yeah, I mean, that's like basically the first podcast they were on, right? Derek had a little bit, Derek and Brandon had some experience. Obviously, Brandon has his own YouTube channel and Derek has his own. But Jackson is the first time, and it takes some time. I mean, look at Kurt's first podcast. And look at him now, you know. It takes some time to lighten up, man. You know, and then you start reading the comments and, you know, take that shit personal. You know, why is this guy saying this? Why is this guy saying that? And after a couple of years on YouTube, you just stop giving a fuck. You know, somebody says something mean, just block. Fuck it. Thanks for proving that you're a piece of shit. I'll focus on the other billions of people that are nice. You know, so yeah, it takes some time to get that camera experience, but they're doing good, man. They're good guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. I'm very selective who I work with. Plenty of people reach out for podcasts, and most of them I turn down. But those three guys, like I work with Jackson. Obviously, he's the owner of Disguised Alpha. He's a phenomenal entrepreneur. Same as Brandon. He's the owner of Adera State and a Leo research group. Right? He basically was the affiliate manager for Modern Aminos. Basically, the reason why Modern Aminos was so successful until they shafted him and shafted us. And now Modern Aminos, from what I understand, is kind of in the gutter. Karma's a bitch, man. If you treat your people right, they will treat you right. But if you start shafting them, then obviously they're going to turn into competitors. And Derek decoded. Derek Derber, if you guys remember from a year ago, he was always in the chat, you know, we were talking about entrepreneurship and stuff. And I kind of challenged him, like, oh, you had 10K. And then 25K, and then 100K per month, and then, you know, $1 million per year, right? And he kept hitting all the targets. And he told me about his Peptide Price website, right? He literally designed that website, Peptide Price, and he's got a lot of experience with peptides as well. He went to Januszek. So these guys are highly motivated, high-level entrepreneurs at young ages, like early 20s, mid-20s, and they're killing it, man. They're killing it. It's very good to see that you know, some people are just so eager to get ahead. Because I was just taking drugs and not getting paid for it. And I was a little bit, yeah. No, actually, it was that their age range. This is fucking partying and taking all kinds of rec drugs. And I wasn't even getting paid for it, you know? And I knew half about the drugs that I knew that these guys know. I mean, they're experts in their own right, you know, with all the experimentations that they run. So they're, yeah, well, a year from now will be a household podcast for sure. Give it 12 episodes, you'll see. It'll be like nothing else. HCG was from Thailand and my blood levels were 20. I had an ultrasound, all good. Any other ideas? Thought maybe SSH could move the needle. The HCG should change it, man. But yeah, you can add in the FSH. HCG from the pharmacy doesn't mean that it's good quality, but blood levels were 20. Yeah, so that's good. Also had an ultrasound. Yeah, you can add in the FSH, 75 IUs every other day or every day, but it might not make a difference. Maybe you need to change the brands of HCG, right? There's the HCG from the pharmacy doesn't mean that it's good, dude. But a 20 milli IUs per milliliter for 750 IUs, that's pretty okay. Yo, Steve, 20 years old. I was on 275 milligrams test per week, estradiol 58, SCBG 14, regular prolactin, total T 3,300, free 1,000, but pinned pre-draw, so inflated. Oh, okay, so you pinned in the morning, right? Dropped to 150 milligrams, no libido for months, was dropping tests the right way. You sent me an email about this, right? Was that you? Yeah. Bro, I got your email. We'll do a consultation soon. We'll save it for the consultation. I just didn't have a chance to get back to you today. So no, don't send any more money, right? You already paid for a consultation. So we'll let that consultation run a little bit. I got all your details, also the details that you're not including in your super chat. All right, the Tremboloni sandwich. All right, I got a solution for you, but I'll save it for the consultation because you paid for that. So that means we don't need to discuss that publicly. But it's very likely that it's a dopamine serotonin dysregulation that you gave yourself, and we'll fix that right up. It's just I think Monday we can do our call, but let me get back to you tomorrow because after this podcast, I'm going straight to bed. Don't worry, by Monday we'll have a solution. Thoughts on adding 25 milligrams daily Anavar for 8 weeks, clenbuterol 80 micrograms daily for 2 weeks on and off. I can tolerate it. Rate of 5 milligrams weekly, 25 milligrams of baclofen daily for the last 12 weeks cut. Should I add or remove anything? Maybe 3 milligrams yohimbine and the mitochondrial stuff. Like if you're going ham, then might as well go all in, man. If you can run 80 micrograms clen per day, throw in the SLU high dose, throw in the MOTC, throw in the ATX and the yohimbine, and then you'll be shredded. I mean, ATX, that makes dieting feel illegal. Or the BAM 15. Like in the 2 weeks that I was on BAM 15, man, it's like, what the fuck, this fat. And now I took it out this week. This week I felt like I stalled fat loss a little bit, but I lost some water, obviously, from the BAM 15 that I was holding. I wouldn't recommend it, guys. I felt horrible. I felt sick. But it feels like the ATX. I felt okay. It just felt lethargic. And combining that with SLU was okay. With BAM 15, you shouldn't combine with SLU, so I didn't do that too much. Because, again, it's more potential for oxidative stress. I know why would you subject yourself to it. And I wasn't as lethargic on BAM 15 as I was on ATX. So, yeah, I would, in this case, if you're in a hurry, you really want to get lean, at least 100 milligrams SLU, 100 milligrams ATX, 304, 3 milligrams yohimbine upon waking. The SLU and the ATX is split, 50 milligrams morning and evening. And there's some injectable carnitine, man. You're going to need it with all this triglyceride shuttling. Right? Otherwise, you will be burning through your own carnitine stores, and then you're like, why is it not working anymore? No, so your carnitine stores are depleted. It's the same as going on growth hormone and your thyroid levels being depleted because you get all this thyroid conversion. Right? If you are in a fat loss phase, your carnitine requirement goes up because you're burning so much fat than usual, and carnitine synthesis might not be able to keep up, just like thyroid synthesis might not be able to keep up. That's thyroxine, converting it to T3, triiodothyronine. So inject some carnitine, 500 milligrams per day, and they'll be done with it. MT methylation DNA test and pyruvate test for mitochondrial health in terms of blood work. Yeah, there's a few more, but not on general panels. And where can you do pyruvate testing and methylated DNA? Is that something you could do at a clinic? Not in Thailand, at least. I've never seen it here. But maybe in the US. Let's see if Merrick Health has it. Now I want to know. Of course, I can't visit it because my IP address is outside of the United States. Well, my diagnostics doesn't have it. Mito swab. Muscle biopsy, no thanks. Yeah, mito swab. I think that's what it's called. I don't know, I have to do some research. All the MENT talk makes me happy. I started back on MENT E for my gains phase. Yeah, I still have a couple files laying around here that's screaming at me. But I gotta finish those DHC experiments first. Gene testing is done first for mitochondria. Yeah, for that you need to swap, right? I love taking drugs and getting paid for it. Yeah, you and me both, man. Imagine we live in a day and age where you can take drugs and get paid for it. Usually we'd have to pay to take drugs, you know. But now we're like, we're literally drug fluencers. Shout out for 5VR for having allopregnanolone perfect for Tren. Yeah, that should be able to calm you down a little bit. Yeah, yeah. If you're deficient, obviously. Didn't provide enough. If you didn't provide enough info, 1.5 years post surgery, 1 year working out again, and started bringing left delt some results, but still severely lacking and need side enhancement. What dose and protocol? Okay, I wouldn't do synthol, but I would start with 5 milligrams GHK copper in the areas that are lacking, and just kind of rotate that around. Just make sure that you do deep tissue massage therapy because it does create some adhesion, some scar tissue, a lot of strong collagen deposition, right? So it might bind everything up and limit your range of motion, and then you might be injured again. So if you use GHK copper for side enhancement, you need at least heavy foam rolling or a lacrosse ball at home, but preferably weekly deep tissue massage therapy on that area with Graston technique to kind of open up the area, allow for good blood flow, because it will create some adhesions. Yeah, and then so that's what I did with my tricep, right? And again, here we go again, posing time. So, 10 lines galore. So, it's also difficult in the. So before I didn't have this peak, so I've been zippering down, like I did that for a couple months, zippering down all this area, and now I literally have a peak in the tricep. And also on this side. Why does it look like a pimple? It's not. But you can actually see still some scar tissue. You see this little ridge? I mean, is that separation or scar tissue? I'm not sure. Pretty fucking shredded though, fuckers. Fucking assholes. So yeah, that's I literally had no tricep, and I did everything I could. Heavy, high volume, low volume, Anadrol, insulin, IGF-1. And it's like, fuck it. I tried everything already. I'm going to do GHK copper because it creates localized collagen synthesis. And who introduced that first? Where's the Kool-Aid? I got to drink my own Kool-Aid again. But yeah, it does work. Look at my peaky, look at my peaky triceps. Triceps too pointy, would not hit. If you know, you know. So yeah, in your case, for the front delt, side delt, you just 5 milligrams per time. And then I might as well go with Clo, right? Dilute that. So you put 1 cc into an 80 milligram Clo stack, and you draw that out. And then you put it in a 10 cc bacteriostatic vial, bacteriostatic water vial. So if you get those 10 milliliter vials that they sell now, you draw 1 milliliter out, inject it into the Clo, let that reconstitute, draw that back into the bacteriostatic vial. So now you have, instead of 80 milligrams per milliliter, you have 8 milligrams per milliliter. So you dilute it a little bit, so the concentration is lower, less post-injection pain, but still fuckload of injection pain. And then you just, every single day, man, before bed, and then you do weekly massages. And I give that a month or two. It'll make a big difference. And it's real muscle, right? It's collagen synthesis. So it will be functional, it'll be contractile, but you need to do the deep tissue massage therapy because otherwise you just create too much adhesions and it will be a problem. I like how Steve runs his food and supplements and takes servings of tests. Hey man, it all goes together. Look at the thumbnail, bro. Food and supplements. Supplements for muscles. Oh man, I miss Joe Statics, dude. Fuck, we had such a good team here of me and Sebastian. Sebastian is he's in Spain right now. and Max, a Russian guy, he lives in Bali right now, and then Joe, obviously a German guy, passed away. But dude, we was. So what are you on? I'm on supplements for muscles. That's what Max always said, and then Joe kind of brought that to social media. Good times, man. Good times. So yeah, supplements for muscles, bro, with your food. Conor Murphy died. Yeah, he passed away. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of tragic. But again, in Thailand, you can do whatever you want to do, and nobody's going to stop you, unfortunately. And every time I talk with Connor, he just seemed to become more defiant. Like the first time he came here, I told him, "said don't pull these stunts here, man. This is not the place." And he did it anyway. And then I pulled him aside again after he lost his mind and got that big scar. Um, you know, and I pulled him aside again and said, "Hey, it's not going to end well for you if you keep pulling these stunts, bro." And he just became more defiant. And then the whole look smacking stuff happened. And then they had that Yulu documentary, and I think that really got to his head. I think he thought he was going to be famous. And then, he just... And there were actually people trying to get him help, which he didn't want. But I think the Hulu documentary sent him over the edge, and just started doing all these words. Biohacking experience with injecting gold and taking God. Well, I know what, but I'm not going to disclose that. I mean, it's kind of sad. Just people need to realize that when you come to Thailand or you're a foreigner, you need to be extra vigilant and remain in control, because people that you meet here, most of them are not your friends, or they're not with you all the time. Your girlfriend's with you. You need to make sure that you have a capable girlfriend who can help, which in many cases, a lot of these guys end up with an incapable girlfriend. They cannot help in any way, shape, or form, also due to their body weight. And swimming is not mandatory here. So if your girlfriend's literally half your weight, she's not going to be able to rescue you from the water that's 10 meters deep. The security guys are not going to rescue you from the water because you've been acting weird and they don't want to take a risk. They got families and they had no swimming lessons. I don't even think I could have saved Connor from the water. And I have every fucking swimming diploma. But I also have a family. So if I were to stand on the edge of the water and seeing Connor go fucking ballistic, I don't think I would have gone in the water either to get him out. Because I have a family. And if the guy's going crazy and he's making no sense, then he could cause you to drown also. So people were actively trying to get him help. I don't think he wanted that. And he was literally causing himself neurodegeneration by injecting gold. So again, you can be whatever you want in Thailand. You can have a wonderful family, become very financially secure, become well respected by the community that you're a part of, whatever community you find yourself in, or you can go absolutely nuts. Nobody's going to stop you here, besides death. So, yeah, that's Connor's story. And there's a lot more to it, but I just don't want to say it publicly. When you do a GHK for side enhancement, are you going IM? Yes, of course. You want to enhance your sub-Q space? What are you talking about? $5. Is there a question? All right. Hey, Steve, I've been on compounded tirzepatide 15 milligrams for about 6 months. Fat loss is stalled for about 2 months. I'd like to switch to Reda. Do you recommend a week off? And what optimal dose to start? Reda allegedly is less potent milligram for milligram. So you could switch from tirzepatide 15 milligrams to the full dose of Reda and then maybe get more hungry again. But did fat loss stall because your metabolism slowed down, because you're less active and you're not knowing about it? Are you actually eating more? Are you more hungry? Maybe the tirzepatide is not working anymore. You just need to control your diet better, not rely on the drug. I mean, find out the root cause why you're stalling. It's not the tirzepatide. That just helps to blunt your appetite. No, I want super chats. Opinion on penile prosthesis for on-demand erections and performance. I don't know. Never used it. Never needed it. My wife can blink at me, and I'm on demand. What are some specific things to look for in an off-season that would warrant the implementation of Lantus? If you're eating a lot of calories and you feel that you can't control your blood glucose levels anymore, or you want to get more bang for your buck out of the food that you're eating, so you basically create a one-way street from your intestinal tract to your skeletal muscle. And again, I have an insulin book on this. If you're thinking about it, just get the insulin book. $75. It will be well worth the money. Trust me, it's the best insulin. It's the only insulin ebook. It's the best insulin ebook out there. So the best and only insulin ebook. You're not going to find anything else on the subject for bodybuilding purposes. And otherwise, hire Milos for a consultation. You know, he'll definitely tell you how to use it, but he'll probably do short-acting insulin multiple times per day. But yeah, at one point you get diminishing returns from the food that you eat. The digestion might be too slow for the rate that you want all these carbohydrates in your muscle. Your pancreas can't keep up anymore with the amount of insulin required to shuttle those carbohydrates into the muscle. And for that, insulin would be a warm welcome. That usually happens after about 800 to 1,000 grams of carbs per day. So if you're not there yet, don't worry about it. Already answered this, bro. Thank you. All right, we're at the end. Let's scroll up a little bit. Steve, Hill, the all-knowing. What do you recommend for somebody that has mild asthma due to pollens and allergies? I try everything I can environment-wise, but I still get flu-like symptoms. Maybe move locations where you don't get pollens and allergies. Keep in mind that pollens and allergies and histamine response can be exacerbated from other things that increase histamine. So you got to figure out what is increasing your histamine response that is making your response to pollens and allergies worse. Let's say on a scale from 1 to 10, you get on a histamine response or an allergy response, you go from 1 to 3 from pollens and allergens. But you're also on something that increases it from 1 to 3 as well. So now you're at a 6. So you were already at a 3 chronically, and then you throw in the pollens and allergens in, due to the season. Now you go from a 3 to the 6. If you remove the other things that is causing a histamine response or an allergic response, then you might have tolerability to the pollens and allergens from the causing mild asthma in certain seasons. Now, changing locations will be good, obviously. It's easier said than done. All right. Allergy season is February to April, for example, and I'm going to live somewhere else where I don't get an allergic response. All right. I don't need to take medication. So you can take an antihistamine. For example, there's many different kinds. There's first generation, second generation. Some make you sleepy, and some don't. You have to experiment with that. Or remove whatever else is causing a histamine response. Or an allergic reaction that makes your reaction to pollens and allergens worse. Right? For me, for example, sounds totally weird, but I always had super itchy elbows, right? Inner elbows and inner knees when I was younger. And it was only happening in summers. I would just literally fucking rub it until it was bleeding, and then would have use some glucocorticoid steroid stream, like Elomut or whatever, to kind of bring the inflammation and the itchiness down. Would thin out my skin to the point I could literally see through my arms. Right, that's how much of a skin thinning effect it would have. You could literally see veins and tendons. It was nasty. It was almost porous and translucent. Until I started eating carbohydrates, and then it went away. So something in the carbohydrates, the bread or whatever else I was eating as a young child, was exacerbating this heat rash. And as soon as I was stopped eating carbohydrates when I was about 15, 16, 17 years old, I never had heat rash again. So there's something that is exacerbating and contributing to the allergies, and that you need to remove for the allergies to become more tolerable. And otherwise, there's always, an antihistamine. Yeah, or inhaling albuterol, right? That opens up the bronchioles as well. And don't take Tren, obviously. Makes it worse. How much of a difference does insulin really make? I've pushed my androgens north of a gram, and 10 I use GH. How many grams of carbs do most people start needing insulin? Yeah, so 800 to 1,000 grams of carbs, like I mentioned before. Also, does Lantus make you gain more body fat than short? No. If you're already on a gram of 10 I use a growth hormone, you probably know how to live the lifestyle. It's if you add in the insulin now on the same caloric intake, then you should not gain any body fat, because the insulin sensitivity of your skeletal muscle will facilitate the absorption of carbohydrates alongside the Lantus that you're taking, or the Lantus facilitates the carbohydrate absorption, and then you burn that away. So all you get is more full. If you increase your food intake or start doing 300 grams of carbs into workout, yeah, suddenly, then of course you're going to get fat. But if you don't change anything to your diet, you read the insulin ebook, which you definitely should, then you'll get great results. I made so much progress on Lantus. It makes a huge difference. It literally makes you feel like you're running double the cycle. So you want something tangible, it will feel like you're on 2 grams of gear regarding fullness pumps and strength increases progressively. And then the same guy asks about the favorite cycle for peak beach genetics. What the fuck do you want? Do you want mass out of your ass? Or you want peak beach aesthetics? You don't need 10 IUs of growth hormone and a gram of gear and Lantus for peak beach genetics. You just need to be lean and take the growth hormone out so you don't hold water. Come on now, man. Make up your fucking mind. Make up your fucking mind. What do you want? Do you want to be big and freaky? This is like the bipolar goals of some people, right? I have some menstrual oil. How do I take 50 milligrams a day? Can I mix it in the same syringe with my Tren and Primo? Yes, if it's an oil, you can mix it with the other stuff. That's totally fine. I used to do that as well when I had injectable orals in oil. Just the YK11, the Anadrol, just mix it with the rest and inject it. Reduce the post-injection pain and slow the absorption a little bit. So you have a little bit more, instead of a kick, you have a longer absorption. It still takes about 24 hours to absorb. So the pre-workout timing isn't that narrow, right? I mean, Winstrol doesn't really have pre-workout benefits. YK11 doesn't really have it. Anavar and Anadrol have it, but Winstrol and YK11, no. And all of these are available in oils. 5AR Society is working on an injectable Anavar. Stay tuned. Don't harass the guy. Steve, when is it ready? When can I buy it? My money is... Take my money. It's ready when it's ready. Chill the fuck out. But it will be available at one point or another. Injectable unmethylated Anavar. I can't wait. But I'm not going to harass the guy. So just mix it in. If you're doing 50 milligrams a day, that's probably 50 milligrams in 1 milliliter, right? So you'll add 3.5 cc's to your test Primo and a Trenbolone for the week. Mix it all up in sterile vial. Shake it and then inject your daily administration. Yeah, notice the same thing, Steve. Certain carbs worsen allergies and itches and rashes for me. Usually high index things like bread and rice. Yes, it's weird, right? And I don't know if it's a sugar or some sort of response from a sugar, like a hormonal response, but like processed carbohydrates, after I remove those, and sometimes I eat like a boatload of processed carbohydrates on a Sunday, you know, and then the next day I feel inflamed and I feel off and I don't have a good workout. But with rice, I don't get it. That's a single ingredient food. That's not... that's not causing issues for me. But like bread or pasta or fucking I don't know, cheesecakes. Yeah, not a good idea. Does low SHBG affect estradiol action with same number? No, because estradiol generally works on the receptor when it's not bound to SHBG. And estradiol can raise SHBG, so your estradiol is probably also low. I don't really know what we're going for with this question, bro. My favorite fruit. Steve, how's the injectable Winstrol from Bellygus? It's good. Yeah, a little bit of post-injection pain, but it's water-based. So, but it goes through an insulin syringe. Good stuff. Or the last time I used it. The last batch I used is over a year ago, but when I used it the last time, it was good. Yeah. Steve, I got DHT, no ester and MCT. If I inject daily, do you think it would still have similar effects on skin like you? Yeah, for sure. Because the MCT will create an injection depot, and it takes about 1 day to disperse. So, will you get some post-injection pain like with injectable Winstrol or Anadrol? Of course, but it will still work, man. Do it sub-Q if you want a little bit slower absorption, more stable serum levels. But yeah, I think if you do like 10 to 25 milligrams per day, you already get the benefits on the skin. And I notice now that it's getting a little bit less. At least, you see now that I'm less watery this week compared to last week. Like the last week I didn't have this because I had the BAM 15 in there. But now I have this hole. Like now I'm not holding so much water again. So you can see like the double bicep vein here. What is this? Bicep split. Anyway, yeah, sub-Q, I would do it. Keep levels stable. Wait, this one first. Thanks for all the info, Steve. Watched you 1.5 years ago drop from 225 pounds as short king to 150 pounds with Red and hopped on TRT to bulk. Now here I am, way better, healthier looking man. All right. Nice. 150 pounds is a pretty... Let's get back up to 225, Maybe if you're a short king, maybe 180 is enough. Yeah. Anyway, whatever physique is attractive, whatever gets you laid, man. Whatever gets you laid. Whether that's a Porsche or a Ferrari or a nice physique, whatever gets you laid. For somebody struggling with excessive gas, would you recommend the FODMAP approach, or is there a better way to figuring out what's causing the stinky gas? Food allergy test and elimination diet based on your food allergy testing results. So you eliminate whatever you shouldn't be eating, and FODMAP is probably a good place to start. Yeah. Like if you're eating a lot of garlic, of course, there's your problem. Maybe you have some gut microbiome issues. Maybe you need to add kimchi, sauerkraut, chia seeds as probiotics for the prebiotics, or prebiotics for the probiotics from kimchi, right? Chia seeds and kimchi together, that's like prebiotic, probiotic heaven. Ever since I started doing that a couple of years ago, my digestion has been very, very good. Maybe you need a BPC 157, TB500, KPV, and GHK copper for a while, like 1 or 2 months orally, 1 milligram of each over the day, 250 microgram servings over the day of each. I think Disguise the Alpha sells that. I think Omega Aminos has that also in a tablet form. But eliminating the foods that is causing gas, protein powder, vegetables, spices, and then improving your gut microbiome. You made me laugh. Thanks for talking about insulin. Do you think most beginners should start off with long-acting insulin because it's more easy to work with than short? I think long-acting insulin is easier to work with than short because short is more narrow on the timing, and the onset peak and duration is faster, obviously, than long-acting insulin, which also means that if you go hypo fast. Like on Humalog, you've been at post-workout, You have your meal, you drive home, you might already be hypo by the time you're home. Or you take pre-workout insulin, you take your intra-workout shake, and then you train so hard that you don't drink enough. Then you go hypo on the fucking leg press, or the squat rack. Happened to me many times, man. You just sit there, you're like, fuck, I'm going hypo again. And you have to fucking slam like half the thing and wait. And then you lose your pump. You get a little bit weaker, or you get a little bit less lubricated, It kind of sucks. So that's why I like long acting more. It's less micromanagement throughout the day. It's a little bit more forgiving. I'm only pushing up my carbs to 800 on my high days. Would Lantus work 1 or 2 times? Yeah, so 1 or 2 times on your high day would definitely work. Yeah. And in your case, I would start with 5 IUs per time, per high day. And then you bump it up with 5 IUs every single time until you notice that one of your blood glucose readings throughout the day are not above 100 anymore. Not 80, not 70. That's only fasting. If it's 100 in between meals, it's probably 70 or 65 upon waking the next day. But again, I explain all of it in the insulin ebook, and you super chatted me so much. Now you could have easily bought the insulin ebook. What are you doing? Yeah, 1 to 2 times a week. Yeah, that's only on high days is fine. Only on high days is fine. Yeah, there you go. So here are some check for H. pylori and SIBO. If you suffer from SIBO, try oral BPC. Yeah, it does wonders for a lot of people. Is it okay to mix HCG and GH in the same pin? Maybe. I never did it. I think both are a little bit expensive now, so I wouldn't risk them denaturing each other. I already have your ebook. Then you don't have to ask these questions. It's all answered in there. Cookies. Put that cookie down. My God, man. I'm not really sure what I read, so I need to ask Steve again and again and again and again. So you know that you need to keep a glucose log of your glucose levels upon waking, in between every meal, pre-workout, post-workout, and before bed. And as long as those readings are above 100 milligrams per deciliter, then you can increase by 5 IUs Lantus the next high day. Will we ever see an update to your ebooks based on new findings? No, but we're working on some other content that will be released when it's ready. And that will make the ebooks obsolete. Yeah. It will be a good research, I promise, but it's a lot of work. So working on it, it will be done when it's done. Jingle all the way. Yes. Let me scroll up a little bit. I'm getting sleepy again. Steve, is it necessary for blood work to be liquid chromatography, tandem mass spectrometry, high sensitivity testing, or will immunoassay do too? Looking at blood work tests in the Netherlands. Depends on your issues. Like, I think a regular CMA immunoassay is totally fine, just to get general screening. But if you have severe issues with hormonal acne or hormonal hair loss or hormonal libido, then it's better to do the high sensitivity testing. But if you're just doing general health screening, immunoassay is fine, man. Don't always need to spend all of that money, I mean, yeah, but I got a more accurate number. Well, okay, and then the number is going to diagnose you? No, it's just we diagnose the patient. We use the numbers to help with the diagnosis. And whether you do immunoassay or high sensitivity testing, if there's no issues or no side effects related to hormones, then I don't see a reason to do high sensitivity testing. And even then, with high sensitivity testing, you might not always get accurate readings because, well, whoop-de-doo, testosterone is being injected, right? It's coming from your injection depot. if you do high sensitivity testing the day after the injection, the readings are going to be different than the day of the injection or 2 days after the injection. And it's going to be different if you combine it with HCG, because HCG also has a different injection frequency. So what are you detecting? More tests from the HCG or more tests from the injection depot from the testosterone that you injected? With the estradiol doesn't convert in the bloodstream. It converts in adipose tissue predominantly. So you inject it intramuscularly, it travels through the bloodstream, then it converts into estradiol in the adipose tissue. It might have some localized effect and never end up in the bloodstream, or convert into esterone, because estradiol and estrone can kind of convert back and forth. And then estrone you don't really test. So if you really want accurate, you need to do biopsy. And it's the same for dietary testosterone. Right? It converts in the 5-AR and 3 different isoforms in different parts of the body. So it converts locally, and some of it might end up in the bloodstream. And is that an accurate reading? None of it is accurate. So I always feel that it's better to diagnose the patient and use the blood work as a guidance than go by the hard numbers on blood work and say, well, there's your problem. You're DHT deficient. Well, maybe the DHT is deficient in serum, but not in the scalp, as is seen from the hair loss, for example, right? Or your estradiol levels are low in serum, but you have clear signs of inflammatory gyno that is progressing. Well, maybe it's converting from the esterone into estradiol in the local tissue. So it's an indication of what's going on, but not the end all and be all. And I think that regular immunoassay in many cases is just enough, unless you have severe hormonal related issues. Then it's better to get additional data and spend a little bit more money on the liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry testing, tandem mass spectrometry, high sensitivity testing. But it's not available everywhere. I don't have it available everywhere, and I'm perfectly capable to diagnose myself with CMIA testing results. You know. And then otherwise, I don't fixate on the numbers. I've done blood work so many times, I just don't fixate on it. I do it every month, but I don't fixate on the numbers. It's just an indication, and then I piece it together. Thoughts on long-term Anavar in the 10 to 20 milligrams if bloods are good? Bloods will not be good on 10 to 20 milligrams of Anavar. It will be, you'll be accepting of it. But I think 12 weeks at this dose is pushing it. Yeah. What are your thoughts on psilocybin? Some data shows it helps overcoming addiction, psychological issues. I think there's even a case where an old lady was able to start speaking after. Yeah, I've never read any studies on psilocybin. If I were to take psilocybin, it's purely for enjoyment, not to overcome a medical condition. And I sure did enjoy myself taking psilocybin or LSD. I think they're wonderful compounds. To overcome addiction or psychological issues or help with neurogenesis, it's a benefit, but not the reason why I would take it. Like, I would not take psilocybin or LSD to overcome addiction or psychological issues. I would address that with other stuff that wouldn't, like, you would probably need multiple dosages for that, and I don't want to be altered to that extent for multiple days in duration. I would rather look into fluvoxamine or another SSRI that potentiates neurogenesis, or cerebrolizin to potentiate neurogenesis, or some sort of electrostimulation, and what is it called? Auditory, sensory, whatever, just something like that. Ibogaine, I would look into. That's at least a one-time treatment, But yeah, like daily use of psilocybin, microdosages. If it's a true microdose, sure. If it's a borderline, that's not a microdose dose. Once every couple of weeks. Like when there's a good movie. Maybe the Odyssey and the Spider-Man, the Brand New Day double feature. 12 hours on, that's not a microdose dose of LSD, 100 micrograms. I'm not against it, man. But then you're taking it for recreational purposes. It's not to overcome addiction. And it's to mask your psychological issues. Because you can't fucking enjoy yourself regularly during, because movies are so shit, you need to dose up. Yeah, I should stop talking now, otherwise I'll give myself away. Come arrest me. I was looking at some of your live streams today. Missed it a few times, just wanted to check in. How you doing, bro? How's the quad healing? Face looks dry, lean DHT looks good on you. Yeah, I'm very happy. I stopped it though after 5 weeks. Great results, but it was excreting a little bit too much. So I switched to Primo last week, and then I can start the DHT again for the Mr. Olympia. Quad is healing nicely. Yeah, I can. Walking upstairs feel a little bit wobbly still, step by step. So it's like one foot dragging it, 1 foot dragging it. 4 plates on the leg press, pin presses, and 2 plates, 3 plates, and some exercises. But bilaterally, it's or unilaterally, it still feels a little bit different. But all is going well, man. Yeah, all is going well. I'm having a blast looking at things for my house. Yeah. Looking at onyx marble that's transparent. I'm going to do a display cabinet with onyx marble that can let LED light through, and then, thick glass, like tempered glass that's strong, to put all my Legos and my paraphernalia on there. And it will be backlit. Oh man, I can't wait to finally spend fucking money on a house. Like, this house is just intermediary house. It was not the dream house. So this is, I can't wait to sell this house. But the new house, oh man, I'm gonna do it the right way. For your information, saw the video on your 25 milligrams a week Tren cycle. Out of curiosity, the difference between 25 milligrams per week versus 25 milligrams a day, well, that's 7 times higher. Side results is that at 25 milligrams a week, actually a viable dose. You barely have no side effects on 25 milligrams, with all of the benefits regarding glucocorticoid receptor inhibition and pure anabolism and no androgenicity on that dose. So yeah, if you're about 100 kilograms. And then as you escalate the dose upwards, you would get more results, obviously, but also diminishing returns in the form of side effects. Some people that might be 50 milligrams a week, some people it's 150. I did 25 milligrams a week, and I got slight irritability, but none of the other side effects. And then at 150 milligrams, I got all of the side effects besides impaired sleep quality. Because again, I can always sleep. So yeah, start low, build your way up. I know Arthur did it with the Retta, 150 pounds is bikini model size. Yeah, it's a very nice thick bikini model. Sitting at 180 right now, hoping to end at 200 by the end of the year. How much muscle gain should I expect as somebody new to steroids? Well, you get more gains in the beginning, so 17 pounds is not unrealistic. Just make sure it's the right pounds. I think putting on 20, 25 pounds in the first year is pretty realistic. It's 2 pounds a month. It's a kilo a month. I think that's pretty realistic. Tend to wake up at 5:30, 6:30 every morning. Even on weekends, rarely able to go back to sleep. If I do it, it's until 7:30. Any advice to get less interruptions in sleep and not wake up wired? Again, watch a deep sleep deep dive. There's a million different, and we're at the end of the podcast. So find what's causing you to wake up early. If it's a sleep supplement that's metabolizing fast, like I would, if I take Gorilla Mind Dream, for example, I only sleep 6 hours. It's a great 6 hours, but I'd rather sleep 8 hours. And it's like 1 out of 5 sleeps, 5 times that I take it. One time you wake up, sleep 6 hours, and you're wide awake. You're like, what the fuck? That's not what I wanted. I wanted 9 hours of sleep. Derek, what the fuck, bro? And I get that with other sleep stuffs too. I mean, maybe you take KW. That if I take that a couple days in a row, I'm just wide awake. Is it because the room is brightly lit at that time, and then you get into your circadian rhythm? There could be a million different things going on. Thoughts on phenelzine? I have no idea what that is. prescription monoamine oxidase inhibitor to treat major depression. I use methylene blue, which is also a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, and it raises serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine levels. And even combining that with fluvoxamine and SSRI, I feel absolutely fantastic. So, but I don't know what this medication is. I've never used it. So proceed with caution. Congratulations. Yeah, I put a deposit because I'm going to buy, in October will be finished. I already spoke with a designer. So the designer is working in tandem with the house. So the designs for the interior is ready by the time the house is finished, and then we can get started. I don't like the wait. Like, once you decide, you just go for it. So the interior designer is working on all the rooms, and then once the first draft of the design is ready, then I'm gonna go shopping for all the marble and the wood and whatever the fuck I want in the house. And then when the house is ready, all the orders would have been placed and close to delivery to the house. So as soon as the house is ready, end of October, I can pay. Fingers crossed, based on my projections on the currency exchange rate, the Thai baht should have been around 34 to 35 baht per dollar, which is good. I'll save like $30,000 in the house because I get $30,000 more for the US dollars that I convert into Thai baht, or USDC, right? The cryptocurrency that I convert into Thai baht. So I have to pay $30,000 less, which is another motorbike. Win-win-win. That's I don't think in kits of GH anymore. I think in motorbikes. So it's a free motorcycle that I get if I wait until October. In October, it'll probably peak and then come down again as tourists come into Thailand and bring more money into the country. It makes the dollar or the Thai baht stronger in comparison to the dollar. And even if the DXY goes up, the dollar cost index, dollar price index, because by that time gold and stock exchange will probably bottom or come down. As the value of the dollar goes up, the value of the Thai baht will go up faster. But by that time, I've already sold all my dollars into Thai baht and get a great deal. So yeah, it's I'm very excited. Hopefully we can move next year February, but probably April. You know how it goes, right? I can time everything perfectly, but can they time everything perfectly? All right, 2 more super chats and then I'm out, guys. Then I'm out. No excuses. There's been a lot of talk about EQ in the kidneys and immune system. Do you see this in real life? Not really. But I made a deep dive on this based on the scientific evidence years ago. And scientifically, it does show that EQ is kidney toxic. And the reason why we know is that EQ is kidney toxic is because it's been studied multiple times. And all the other studies, all the other steroids have not been to that extent. So again, just because EQ is kidney toxic and other steroids show no kidney toxicity, it's not because they're not kidney toxic, it's because it hasn't been studied. So recommending Primo or Masteron or Tren even over EQ due to kidney toxicity is asinine and fucking stupid, because there's no scientific evidence that it's kidney safe, because it hasn't been studied. So neurotoxicity, all steroids. Kidney toxicity, all steroids. And it's probably coming from an estradiol lowering effect and an increase in oxidative stress, which you can mitigate by intelligent blood work and mitochondrial function. Like SS31 is likely preventative of any kind of kidney issues that steroids could potentiate, because the steroids cause oxidative stress, and the SS31 protects against oxidative stress, which accumulates in very high amounts in the kidneys, which is rich in mitochondria. So yeah, if you're on steroids, you probably need to run SS31 at 2 milligrams to 5 milligrams daily. When I'm going into a cruise, do you find the bare minimum you need to maintain? 1 milligram per kilogram of body weight, or 1 milligram per pound, as a general rule of thumb. Sleep hygiene and lemborexant. Yeah, but I don't think lemborexant is going to work for everybody, man. I mean, it's promising. I haven't used it, but it's not like I just use lemborexant and you're fine, you know. I just want to say hi. I hope all is well. Wire and I are platinum sponsors at Texas Pro. Yeah, you're spending what 10K of your own money on some of the competitors. Great, man. That's great. Wrote Paul into it as well. I baited Paul into separating with his money. Looking forward to stepping up our game even more. Best to you and your family. I hope you get some ROI, man, and get a lot more clients because I'm sure that's why you're doing it. So, but yeah, have fun. Looking forward to the pictures on social media. 25 milligrams a week, actually very interesting, very cool. So high dose Tren is not worth it. That's a game changer conversation. Retrain. Yeah, it is a game changer. And a lot of people have run a low dose Tren with their cycles and gotten all the benefits, but none of the drama. Just got my care package from AP. Yeah, sometimes it takes a while, but that's a fun part of ordering online. The last one. Currently 100 milligrams BAM 15. Do you think MOTC will blunt the effects or would it be a good mix? Very lethargic right now. Yeah, I think the problem is with BAM 15 is that it causes some oxidative stress, right? So anything that you add in to upregulate the mitochondria will potentiate more oxidative stress. I think BAM 15, it's kind of mandatory to run high dose SS31. I was on about 5 milligrams SS31 when I ran BAM 15. Was that enough? Well, it still felt like shit. So I would just run it short period to get a little bit of fat off real fast and not put too much burden on your body. And I ran MOTC also. I felt lethargic. Still. With ATX, I felt lethargic also, but the SLU was able to mitigate that. Yeah, it's a little bit unknown territory, right? Stacking all these drugs together. So I would proceed with caution and only use these drugs for short stints to really get fat off fast and then be done with it. Not like 12 weeks. No way. It's too long. Right? 2, 3, 4 weeks of ATX and maybe 2 weeks of BAM 15, and then you need significant time off. All right, guys, let's throw in the towel. It's 2:10, and my lights are buzzing again. So, again, all the details are mentioned down below in case you want to do some shopping. Omega Aminos, this is glutathione in stock, and the mutant blend, which is BPC 157, KPV, and TB500. And Disguised Alpha is restocking so much. If I start talking about it now, it will be here until next week. Thanks, Jackson. So the buttload of new shit is in stock. Guys, I really appreciate that you guys keep using my code. It makes a big difference to my income. So by all means, keep stacking. Keep stacking those sats. And it looks like with Bitcoin, we're finally getting into that last leg of the time down. So I'm looking to get my entries sometime in October, and then, probably be nothing going on until February next year. And then it's time to start making some money, man. Yeah. I'll let you guys know when I'm all in. And if you want to copy my trade, that's your responsibility. But I'm eyeing the last leg of the way down, and then from 364 days after the peak, I'm going to start looking at some entries. Right now. All right, guys. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next weekend. I'll be spending $35 on the cheesecake tomorrow. So if I look bloated next weekend, remember whose fault it is. It's your fault. See you guys later.